Hello all, this is John from EastCoastArmory.com, and I'm here today with a new product release of this M1A2 76mm gun barrel. The gun barrel that you see here is intended to replace the stock 75mm gun barrel that you see on the Dragon M4A3 Sherman tank in both the pre-built and the newly released kit version. The barrel itself is all made out of PVC, and it does have its taper to it. On the back end here, we have a simple plug-in stud so that you could insert it into the mantlet on the Dragon Sherman, as well as the front has here the thread protector. The barrels that you see are going to be offered in 3 different versions. You will have a version that has no thread protector on it whatsoever. This would be like the 76mm gun that I have on my M4A3 E2 76mm Jumbo. The first guns had no thread protector on them. Later on, while the muzzle was being developed, threads were added to the barrel. However, before the muzzles were produced, a thread protector was developed. The thread protector is like that you see on many high-end handguns, and what it does is it's a simple collar that screws over the threads that protects them from any type of damage. The thread protector had 2 different versions. During the war, it was a big fat version like we have here, and then post-World War II, there was a slimmed down version that didn't have as much of a concave appearance and was a little bit more narrower and used less material. 76mm M1 gun is as follows. Back when the Sherman was developed, it was never really intended to be used against other enemy tanks. It was more or less used to engage fortifications. Because of that, the 75mm gun was developed and was intended for that purpose. Unfortunately, when the United States entered the war, we did encounter German tanks, and at first, 75mm was able to hold up against the Panzer IV, which was a threat vehicle at the time the Sherman was developed, as well as the Panzer III. However, once we went into Europe, we started engaging tanks like the Panther and the Tiger I, which were the next generation of German tanks. Because of that, the 75mm gun was severely outgunned. An upgunning program began in both the United States and England to give the Sherman some better anti-armor support. The British developed the 17-pounder anti-tank gun, which when fitted to their Sherman, which was designated the Firefly, proved to be a viable weapon. The Aberdeen Proving Ground actually tested a Firefly to see if it would be a viable modification to add to the United States Army Shermans. However, instead of adopting the Firefly 17-pounder, we went ahead and developed the 76mm gun M1. The M1 gun was actually first fitted to several pilot versions of the Sherman with the 75mm turret. They simply swapped out the 75mm gun and installed the 76mm gun. What the brass deemed was that even though the modification was a success, you were able to field the 76mm gun, they felt that the turret for the 75 was too short and cramped for use with the longer ammunition that the 76 requires. So because of that, the idea was developed to come up with a brand new tooling for a turret which was larger that could give more elbow room on the inside. This turret came from the ill-fated T-23 project. T-23 was a medium tank program that never really went anywhere. However, the design led eventually to the M26 Pershing. The T-26's turret had the 76mm gun, and this is the turret that we see on the M4A3E8 as well as the M4A376. These vehicles fitted with the T-23 turret started to make their appearance towards the end of the Normandy campaign and were used in the breakout and all the way up until the end of the war. These vehicles were so popular that demand outstretched the production. So whenever a vehicle was either knocked out or whenever a spare 76mm gun would become available, the engineers would take the gun and fit them either to an M4A3 Jumbo, or they would field fit them onto standard M4A3 Sherman tanks. There was no official designated version of this vehicle during the war. However, after World War II, an upgunning program started to retrofit all the 75mm Shermans that were still left in U.S. inventory. This program received the nomenclature M4A3E4. Basically, it was just the standard 75mm turret fitted with the M1A2 76mm gun, like we have here. These vehicles were mainly intended to be issued to friendly nations. Such countries as Denmark, as well as Yugoslavia, received a large number of these vehicles. Which is why, if we watch the movie Kelly's Heroes, all of the Shermans in that movie are equipped with the M1A2 76mm gun, because all those Shermans are M4A3E4s. The barrel itself is a simple drop-in replacement for any 75mm gun tube that is found on just about any 1/6 scale M4 Sherman tank that's on the market. This would include the plastic Panzers version, the JD, as well as even the Panzerwerk M4A3. With the new barrel, it gives your Sherman a little bit of an edge over some Panzers, and will give a unique look to your model. Also, in case if you want to model the Kelly's Heroes Sherman tank, you have the barrel to get you off the ground. And that concludes this product showcase video for this 1/6 scale M1A2 76mm gun barrel. If you like this video, stop by and like us on Facebook. Also, don't forget to check out eastcoastarmory.com for more 1/6 scale Sherman parts, as well as other 1/6 scale tank builds. Thank you.